The UN Special Envoy to Syria has called on all fighting groups to allow the evacuation of injured civilians from besieged areas. Speaking in Geneva in the last hour, Staffan de Mistura individually named people who need to be evacuated and called the strategy of laying siege to certain areas medieval. Well, de Mistura also said the UN is meeting Russian officials over the next 24 hours to agree on a workable plan to deliver humanitarian aid to the civilians trapped inside Aleppo. Earlier, Russia unilaterally suspended airstrikes for 3 hours to allow aid in, but de Mistura said that's nowhere near enough time.
First of all, we, the UN, were not consulted. Second, based on what we heard from Jacob El Hillo, our humanitarian coordinator, in Damascus, 3 hours are not enough. Next point, we have been reiterating we need, obviously, that to maintain the aim for what has been the pause request by the UN, which is 48 hours.
Well, Ediz Tiyansan is following developments from the Turkey-Syria border near Hatay.
Staffan de Mistura, the United Nations Special Envoy for Syria, emphasized how significant the city of Aleppo is in this conflict and for its resolution. He said, if you can't find a sustainable ceasefire in Aleppo, you will not find it anywhere else in the country. And with regards to the Russian military's proposal to provide a 3-hour-long humanitarian window to allow in humanitarian aid every day, he said that those 3 hours per day is simply not enough. And speaking after him, the chief humanitarian advisor also said that in the case of eastern Aleppo, with some 300,000 people living there and the amount of supplies they need on a daily basis, 3 hours will simply not be enough. And he emphasized that the United Nations in similar operations always needs an at least 48-hour-long window with a sustainable cessation of hostilities. And speaking about other enclaves, de Mistura also emphasized that Aleppo is not the only city facing such crisis. He also mentioned Madaya and several children there who urgently need medical evacuation, and that the Russian and the Syrian regime's parties should also support these other operations. And speaking about the prospects, de Mistura emphasized that both Russian and American teams are still there, continuing with their discussions, particularly on the Castello Road, which was the main supply route in and out of eastern Aleppo. And he said that the United Nations is supporting these discussions, but that the timing is of essence for the sake of humanitarian situation on the ground.